So where's that little bottle you had? The little white one. You don't know what I'm talking about?
No.
You were holding it about 10 seconds ago.
Oh, was that?
Yeah, you were.
There's these little zipper pouches. Do
Mm-hmm.
you guys have any?
No, my question is, where's that little bottle you had? It was a little white bottle. Looked like medication.
Don't have a bottle of medication. No.
No, you just had it like a minute ago. I think it was our property.
I don't know.
Well, it didn't disappear.
It's on the shelf.
Can you show me what shelf it is?
Yeah.
So I can clear you from saying you maybe took it?
Or you just want it back?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, here you go. I'll be on my way, dude.
Get out of your way. I'll fucking stand in your way.
I said I'll be on my way.
Okay. Is this yours too?
Yeah, I came in with this.
All right. Don't you ever fucking come back in here.
Don't say fucking.
Hey,
careful,
hey,
careful.
hey. Don't worry about me.
Huh?
Just get out.
I said I'm on my way. I wasn't threatening you or anything, dude. You're over here fucking threatening me.
Busted. Busted.
If you saw him, he's not allowed back.
Yeah.
Wait, he's not even allowed in here
No.
in the first place.
I don't think you're allowed in here, brother. You gotta go.
Why? Because you've stolen before and you've been kicked out before. You're not allowed here. And he just saw you steal. So, put the items back and leave. Thank you.
How you doing?
Bye, Felicia.
No, I saw you put it in there.
This one I had right here. I had this one.
I've been
And
watching.
I had that one right there. That's one I was looking at. These two right here, and this one, man. I put it right here, dude. You must have seen me wrong because I sleep right back here.
You need
like
to go,
this.
bro. You need to go.
Okay, that's fine, man. But let me take nothing, bro. I put it right there.
No, I'm not gonna go through all your pockets. I'm just saying. What's up, YouTube? This is DEFCON 3 Security coming at you from somewhere here on Spaceship Earth. So just an update. I'm pretty certain I got a new job, right? You know, I always tell you guys, know your worth, know your value, value your time. So the current company that I'm with, you know, I'm satisfied. I get paid a fair wage. The job is not overly difficult. Managements, they're pretty cool. You know, there's not a lot of micromanaging or any of that. But I did find another job. It's with a more reputable company. These are all ex-veterans, ex-special forces. I mean, these guys just seem really cool. But more importantly, it's closer to home. My current job, I figure I'm driving 2 hours a day. And I only go there 3 days a week. But when you do the math, 2 hours a day, 3 times a week, give or take another 30 minutes for traffic, right? I'm almost at 30 hours a month of driving. I can drive from California to Texas in 30 hours and maybe even further. So when you start thinking about that, like every month I drive 30 hours that I'm not getting paid for the time, right? I'm not getting paid the 30-hour travel time. I'm not getting paid for gas. My vehicle is getting wear and tear on it. And it just eats into your day. So this new job that I might get, I'm actually really certain I'm going to get it. I have an interview on Wednesday. They're only 15 minutes away from my house, maybe even closer. So, you know, I'm kind of keeping my fingers crossed. Hope it all goes good. They offered me a decent amount of money, actually more than decent. But you know how we do it, right? I'm going to go in there and tell them, well, you know, the current company's paying me this much, obviously more than what they're offering me. And we're going to have to negotiate. And, you know, you try to get a couple little things in there because you only get one shot at it. If you go into a company and they're offering you $13 an hour, you need to go in there and ask for 19. because you're never gonna get that 19. If they give you a 50 cents per year raise, by the time you get to 19, you're talking 10 years down the line. I'd rather go into that company and ask for 19 right off the bat. And if they say no, we'll counter you with 17. Well, you know, you just got a couple years worth of raises in 10 minutes of negotiating. So I'm going to try to negotiate for more. If they don't go up on the pay, I'm actually happy with what they're offering. But if they don't go up on the pay, then I'll negotiate something else. Well, you're guaranteeing me only day shift, right? Oh, and that's the other thing. It's only day shift. They're not. So this current job, it's no more graveyard shift. So I'm going to feel a lot better. I'm going to look a lot better, right? But I'm going to make them like, so, you know, all right, you're not going to work with me on the pay, but benefits. Tell me about benefits. Or, hey, I'm not going to be working any graveyard, right? You're not going to have me going out to like some post that's an hour and a half away and not pay for my gas, right? So this is the negotiating time. They need me there. They need a guard. And I'm the guy to do the job. But it comes at a price. They're going to make money off me. There's no doubt. But how much are they willing to put out there to keep me, right? At this current post, they were looking for former police, former military, all that stuff, right? And I don't have that kind of background. So I told them, you know, you're not going to be getting a former Green Beret, but what you will get with me is somebody that comes on time every day, somebody that doesn't call out, somebody that knows how to de-escalate a situation. I think that's more important than looking for somebody that's an ex-cop, right? All you want is to make sure, is this guy going to be here on time? Is he not going to make a fool out of himself, right? When I told the lady that, they're like, come aboard. You're hired. So it worked. Anyways, today's topic, it's going to be, I don't know what I'm going to call this yet. Something like tips from a veteran security guard. Either way, there's a person that comments on here often, or at least lately, Judge Parker. I don't know if they are a judge or a Parker, but they always just put the best pieces of advice in the comments. It's usually pretty detailed, and it's just sound advice. I mean, this person obviously knows what they're doing and what they're talking about. And I'm questioning why they don't have their own YouTube channel and just put me out of business. But either way, I did briefly interact with this person and asked them, is it okay if I read their comments online and maybe break it down a little bit? And they were okay with it. So I'm going to just go through 7 different points that they brought up that are just 7 really good points. And they also have other comments too on other videos, and maybe I'll revisit and talk more about some of the comments that they made. But these are just really good pieces of advice, and I thought, you know what, why not share this with you guys? Because we don't all always just read every single comment. Some people do read the comments, some don't. But I didn't want this gem to pass us up. I've been getting attacked by something down here for the past minute. There we go. Who's this? We got a little guest visitor here today. It's getting bigger. All right, buddy. Okay, so Judge Parker writes, they just wrote down like 8 different tips, but number 8's not really a tip, rather it's a story. So let's go through the 7 tips that they give us, and I'm reading it off my computer screen, so I apologize if I'm looking away. Number 1, practice pulling your handgun 500 times per day, every day, to increase speed and skill. You know what? That is a great piece of advice, guys, especially if you got a new piece of equipment or if you switch something up. Like my flashlight used to be on this side and now it's on this side. And now whenever I try to reach for my flashlight, I have to remind myself it's on this side, which is okay because I'm just going for a flashlight. It's not a life or death situation. But you can imagine if that was my firearm, right? If I switched it to another side for whatever reason, or if I went from a regular host to a drop leg holster, you can imagine there's a break-in period. So that piece of advice, absolutely, yeah, 100%, right? Every day, I don't necessarily pull my gun out 500 times a day, but I definitely, when I'm standing there and you have nothing to do, I'll just drop my hand occasionally just to make sure I know how to get to it quickly. So I practice pulling it out. Sometimes I do pull it out. Sometimes I'll pull it out and take the safety off. I do keep one in the chamber from now on, per you guys' advice. I do keep the safety on though, but when I draw it out, the safety comes right off at the same time. So I'm kind of perfecting that. But yeah, guys, get used to your equipment, especially if you move it. You could just mentally try to pull it out 500 times or physically pull it out. It's just, I know my equipment would get worn really quickly if I physically did it 500 times a day. Here's a little side story. Scientists did a study on people shooting basketball hoops, free throws, right? So they had one guy visualize shooting a free throw for 30 minutes, right? In his mind, he was just sitting there picturing doing it. And he had another guy physically shooting free throws for 30 minutes. Turns out that they had both learned at the same rate. So it didn't matter if one guy was physically throwing the hoops or the guy was visually doing it. They both were excelling at the same rate. So you could practice in your mind and still be just as effective as physically. Although I feel like physically it's, you know, it takes out some of the error that you don't even think about. But so yeah, you know, if you're at the job site, obviously you don't want to pull your gun out and scare people, but if you can just keep your hand within that area and just mentally practice pulling it. Great piece of advice. Number 2, if you're right-handed and speaking to folks, always turn on your left side so your weapon cannot be reached. Great piece of advice. I even heard a guy that told me, this guy John said, hey, when you're in the bathroom, if there's somebody, if there's a wall next to you, always, for guys, excuse my crassness, for guys, pee in the side and of the urinal, like that has the wall near it, so that your gun can't be accessed from somebody on this side. So you always want to have your gun next to the wall so that nobody can come from this side and take or disarm you, right? You just never know. There could be somebody that's just bent on ending their life or your life that day, and they just go for your gun. So yeah, definitely always mind your gun and where it is, proximity to you, right? So you, again, this person is saying if somebody's talking to you, if your gun is on this side, kind of have your body turn this way, or vice versa. Just don't have your gun easily accessible. Number 3, I always make sure you can see all people in your view. Never let them behind you. Again, it goes back to that thing that we just said. Make sure that you don't let the person on the side of your gun, and definitely don't let anybody behind you, especially if there's some sort of incident popping off. You definitely don't want somebody walking behind you. Always try to like walk back so that they can't get behind you. A wall is your best friend, because obviously nobody can, you know, see you through the wall. So again, guys, always know your 6 and make sure that nobody gets behind you. Number 4, no matter how serious a situation is, remain calm at all times. People look for your help. Exactly. You always want to be in control of the situation and be calm. The moment you start panicking, people lose all respect for you, and then they look for somebody else for leadership. You can imagine if there was a shootout and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know, dude. People are going to be like, all right, well, this joker doesn't got it together. Now, if I'm like totally calm, like, guys, just chill, relax, get down, I got this. They're going to be like, cool, this guy knows what he's doing. He's assertive. He's obviously in control. So again, no matter how serious the situation is, be calm. I don't think screaming has ever helped anybody survive a shootout. So you definitely want to just kind of keep your P's and Q's together and just don't panic. Remain calm. The way you keep from panicking is to, again, visualize. Visualize scenarios going off. Man, if somebody were to shoot out, what would it sound like? What would it feel like? You know, and it kind of helps prepare you for those moments. Number 5, make sure you're well-groomed and your uniform is wrinkle-free. If you look like a mess, people will respect you less. That is so true, man. That is why I always keep my uniform just really nice and clean. People always come up to me and they're like, are you like some sort of special security or something? And it's a little bit cringy, right? The way I get dressed sometimes. But I do get respect. People look at me and they don't look at me like a Paul Bart mall cop kind of guy. They look at me as somebody that's specialized. And the reality is I'm not specialized. I just fit myself good every day. I get fitted good, I should say, right? I've got my magazines in the front. I make sure they're clean. When I eat, I make sure there's no crumbs all over me. And I definitely demand more respect when I do that. And when you get more respect, you're less likely to have things go bad on you because people don't want to challenge you. Number 6, never argue with people. You're in charge, right? Calm folks down, not fuel the fire. This is one of the biggest mistakes I see security guards do all the time, and that is escalate a situation rather than de-escalate a situation. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen a guard say, you know what, let me go talk to this guy, and he'll be like, hey, come here, man. And I'm like, bro, don't, no, don't do it like that. Go up to him and be like, hey, sir, can I have a word with you real quick? Hey, man, check it out. This company does not want people standing in front of the door. I know it sounds ridiculous, but can you do me a favor, my man, and just stand right over there? Meanwhile, I have the other guy going, yeah, bro, hurry up, grab your stuff. And I'm like, bro, stop. It's under control. You're adding fuel to the fire. You're giving this guy a reason to push back. So, yeah, you got to never argue with people. Just show them you're in charge and calm them down, you know. Now, having said that, part of de-escalation can be sometimes to escalate yourself, right? I've had guys come up to me and be like, yo, man, I could take you out in a second, and then I up it 2 levels. And I just, you know what I mean? You up your voice, you up your attitude, like, and it kind of shows them that you're serious. So if somebody threatens you and you come back with something calm like, well, I mean, sorry, man, they're going to walk all over you. You know, you want to definitely come at them 2 levels higher. But every situation is different, right? That's where experience comes in. And I'm sure I've got some videos on tips on de-escalation somewhere, so I don't want to get too much into it. We're already 14 minutes in. But yeah, guys, never argue with the person. Try to remain calm. Don't add fuel to that fire. You really don't. And number 7, this will be the last one. Never think you're a cop with a macho man mentality. Your character will make or break you for the better or the worst. So that's, yeah, you definitely don't want to give people the illusion that you're a cop. For one, it's not legal. And 2, they're going to ask more of you than what you can provide. I've had people come up to me and be like, hey, man, that guy over there is whatever. And I'm like, well, you need to call the police. Oh, you can't handle it? I mean, I could probably handle it, but that's totally out of my jurisdiction. I'm not supposed to be in that area. If you don't want to call 911, I'll call for you. But I didn't see the person doing anything bad. I can't, from this vantage point, I can't see nothing. You said you saw everything, so why don't you call the cops and I'll call them to you if you need. But yeah, so don't raise people's expectations of what you're able to do and make them think you're anything more than a security guard. Again, we all know this, right? Our job is to basically observe and report, not to add fuel to the fire or pretend like we're cops or anything. So definitely don't try to trick anybody because you're only fooling yourself. I do somewhat look like a cop because it demands respect, my uniform, of how clean it is and how organized it is. But I'm not trying to be a cop. It's just that cops have for years refined the way their uniform is set up because it is ideal. So I'm basically mimicking their uniform in some regards because it works. I mean, there's a reason why they have their taser on this side, their firearm on this side, even though I have them both on the same side. There's a reason why they have mags in the front versus, you get the idea, right? Over years of trial and error, they have made their uniform perfect. And so when you see my uniform like theirs, it's not because I'm trying to be them, but that's what works. And the second part of that tip said, your character will make or break you for the better or worse. Again, character goes a long way. If you show people you're in charge, you're not trying to be a bully, you're just trying to do your job, a lot of people will sympathize with you and tend to work with you versus against you. If you put somebody in a corner or you call them out and their homeboys are right next to them, I guarantee you they're going to give you mouth. So you definitely want to give a person a way out. You can be like, bro, I get it. You say you're going to shoot me. Go home, come back later, whatever. give them a way out. But if you're like, go ahead, let's go, you're not giving them a way out. I always, you know, when people start to really mouth off, I'm like, why don't you go home, think about it. If you are serious, come back later. I'm waiting right here. They never come back. But at the same time, they can leave knowing that you didn't tell them to leave, that they left on their own accord, if that makes sense. Again, it's in one of my de-escalation videos. But yeah, guys, just 7 wonderful tips. Thanks again, Judge Parker. Obviously, you're experienced. You know your stuff. I look up to you. I hope for one day be able to master all these techniques, if not more. Keep up the good work. Your comments definitely help add to this channel, to this community. A lot of us are beginners, including myself. I have not mastered this art by any means. Everything's just simply my opinion and my experiences. But yeah, guys, so there you go. Again, I'll keep you updated on the new job, let you know how it went. I'm a little bit nervous. You know, whenever you go on a new post or a new company, you're like, wow, is this going to be tough? Am I going to be sitting there for hours standing or hours walking? Or am I going to be able to have breaks, restrooms? You know, there's all these things, you're like, all these uncertainties. But leaving a new company and going to a new company can be a great change, especially if you started off on the right foot. I definitely want to go in there negotiating. I mean, yes, I feel like I'm hired because they told me, well, come on in, bring your certifications, let's get you on the team. But until I get everything in writing, until I get that pay that I want, until I get things negotiated, I gotta get at least something more than what they offered. I mean, even if it's like, well, I'll tell you what, man, you argue too much. We'll give you 4 bathroom breaks a day. How's that sound? I'm like, cool. As long as I get something more, that's all I'm aiming for. So, all right, guys. Hey, you know your worth. You know your value. Value your time. I work in a hospital right now. Way too many people have regrets. They didn't value your time. Gosh, I don't even want to get into it. It's just sad. But value your time, guys, please. But above all, be safe.